Hello everyone, and welcome to my tier ranking of the Lethal Weapon films. Recently, I was hanging out at my dad's house, and he had the TV on, and Lethal Weapon was on AMC or whatever. I sat there, I ended up watching the whole damn movie, with commercials. So even when someone's like, "You've seen that movie 100 times," like my mom always says to me, "How many times do you need to watch this?" I'm like, well, a lot actually, because I like to be hanging out with these characters. I like to be immersed into this world. I love hearing this music. This is just where I want to be hanging out. And you can tell everyone making these movies enjoys making these movies, even if the movie sucks, and one of them does. But that doesn't stop me from watching it. So let's get started right where we should, with Lethal Weapon 1. Lethal Weapon at its core is a story about tragedy and grief, about losing oneself and then finding it again. It's about finding friendship and partnership in unexpected places, and from that, a newfound perspective on life. It's about two men who needed each other more than they realized. Riggs is a suicidal man. His wife was apparently killed in a car crash years ago. This is a man who claims he's not afraid of death. And there's plenty of moments where I really believe him. And watching Mel Gibson's performance in some of these scenes, especially the famous gun in the mouth scene, is one of the most riveting, profound things ever captured on film. So Riggs is the man with nothing to lose. He's already lost it all, except for his awesome fucking trailer beach house. And Murtaugh, he has everything to lose. He's got the wife, he's got 3 beautiful kids, got a nice home, although I'd rather live where Riggs does. And he's just trying to make it to retirement. And the last thing he needs is to be paired up with some suicidal maniac. They have the instrumentals that accompany each of them, the guitar for Riggs, the saxophone for Murtaugh. And when the characters meet, so do the instrumentals. Sounds simple, but it is so effective. And it's the last ingredient needed for me to call this movie a masterpiece. Lethal Weapon 1 is S tier. It's mind-blowing how well performed some of these scenes are. Lethal Weapon 1 also manages to be really funny because the humor is cleverly woven around dark material, and that's just my sense of humor. During one of the most serious scenes in the film, this happens.
Get in here!
And it makes me laugh. And I like that the first half of this movie unfolds like a detective story. The villains of this movie may be considered underwhelming, but an upstaging villain would throw the whole movie off balance. So I think the filmmakers played it right. I like the villain, Mr. Joshua. So what's going on here? All of this is just like a backdrop for the two main characters to surf on so we have a movie, but it's really about the dynamic between the two. They kidnap Murtaugh's daughter, it gets personal, that allows the film a chance to be an action picture, which it does well, but again, that's not what makes it great. Because I'm not kidding when I say this, I know you've probably heard it a million times, but the chemistry between these two guys is why I'm talking about this right now and uploading it to YouTube. You're asking, don't you have any gripes? I do have one that's multifaceted. My only gripe with Lethal Weapon 1 is that the theatrical cut does not include the school sniper scene and a number of other good character development scenes that I would prefer to have in the movie. Because it takes the sort of man that doesn't give a shit if he lives or dies to walk in there like he did and put an end to that threat. Had Riggs' wife not died, these children would have instead. You see how that works out? So put this scene back in the movie. Alright. Let's move on to Lethal Weapon 2. Here's what I'll say it has over Lethal Weapon 1. The villains. The villains in Lethal Weapon 2 are much slimier. They're given much more screen time. They make the stakes much more personal with the shit that they do and the shit that they've done. They don't even look like humans. They look like monsters or bugs or something. Trolls, slime shitters, like the ultimate. The way they speak and talk is just nasty and ugly and guttural. Like, and you want to see them get their comeuppance throughout the entire film. much more so than you did in Lethal Weapon 1. But the villains worked for Lethal Weapon 1. I'd say what my biggest gripe is with Lethal Weapon 2 is so many scenes throughout this movie feel like deleted scenes. You have all these other fucking cops, but you don't know shit about any of them. You got Dean Norris here trying way too hard to be a cop. He looks like he's almost pulling his back out. Anyway, I just feel like so many scenes in this movie are just lacking depth. It's just gags and goofy stuff just to make the audience laugh. Like, ho ho, look, it's Riggs and Murtaugh being funny, ho ho. Now, I'm glad everybody's having a nice time. I'm glad everybody's having a laugh. It looks like they're having fun making this movie, and I'm having fun watching the movie. I'm just saying the first movie is much more interesting to watch unfold than the second one. The second one is a great bit of 80s action fun. This is amongst the best fucking duos you're ever going to get in the history of cinema, so there's a lot to love about this. But it's definitely a big step underneath the first film for me. Lethal Weapon 2 is going in A tier. If somebody so much as farted in the direction of Joe Pesci in, say, Goodfellas or Casino, he'd carve them up and put them in a box. And here he is in Lethal Weapon 2 just getting slapped around the whole movie. So it just shows the range within this actor. I know it sounds like I'm giving Lethal Weapon 2 a lot of shit, but I do think that Lethal Weapon 1 was just on another level. You can't beat some of the scenes in that movie.
What? What? Yeah, I know. Oh. Baby man. I hear you. Yeah. We're not gonna fucking die here. All right? Okay. On three. 1, 2, 3.
It's scenes like this that make me happy we got sequels. But then we get to Lethal Weapon 3, where right at the beginning we have a similar situation. But this time, Riggs is acting a little strange. He's obsessed with disarming this bomb in this vacant building, completely ignoring protocol and procedure and common sense. You could say there's a reason Riggs is acting like this. Maybe his brain is fucking scrambled from losing a wife, a girlfriend, and being shot 17 times. Maybe he did actually die at the end of Lethal Weapon 2.
Roger. What?
You got the usual fucking action scenes, Riggs hanging off the side of a fucking truck speeding down the road while Murtaugh's in pursuit. Here it is again, and it's no different. It's not inventive. So we have one stupid fucking moment after another throughout this movie. And then at some point halfway through, things get all serious and somber after Murtaugh blasts a kid, which leads to maybe the best scene in the entire series. Murtaugh is acting very similar to how Riggs was in the first movie when he was contemplating suicide. I don't think Roger was suicidal here, but this is the most depressed and down we've ever seen Murtaugh. And Murtaugh being this vulnerable is very heartfelt, and this whole scene just sort of works on me a bit. It works me up. I've mentioned a couple times how good Mel Gibson's performance is throughout these Lethal Weapon films, but I don't want to leave out words on Danny Glover. I know you've just kind of taken it as a given as I've been talking that his performance is really good too. But here in this scene especially, I think Danny Glover is at his best. He's such a good actor, man. All the stupid shit Riggs was doing for the entire rest of the movie, I forget about in this moment. It's like he's acting like the real Riggs again. And then the rest of the movie is just underwhelming bullshit, really. But I have a good time with Lethal Weapon 3. It's just the least best time of the 4 movies. My favorite scene in Lethal Weapon 3, aside from the boat scene, is when Riggs is about to be mauled to death by an attack dog. He is such a goofball in this moment. Riggs has already demonstrated himself to be an idiot in this movie, so this is fine. I'd rather this scene be in the movie. At the beginning of Lethal Weapon 4, once again, Riggs is endangering the ever-loving shit out of Murtaugh.
What do we do now? Run him over.
that's your movie. He'll have to come to terms with the fact that he's a reckless idiot and explain to Murtaugh's family why he's full of holes out on 9th Street. These fucking guys just cannot keep themselves out of trouble, ever. They can't even be hanging out on a boat in the middle of the ocean without getting into a gunfight. And then that sucks them into the plot. Once again, it's nothing profound to speak of. It never is with the Lethal Weapon films. But I do think Lethal Weapon 4 has my favorite villain. This was the first movie I ever saw Jet Li in when I was like 8 or 9 years old, and he was unforgettable to me. He plays an amazing bad guy. He's so menacing without saying a word, because he lets his fists and feet do the talking. I could just watch Jet Li kick people's ass all day long, even if it's our heroes, and it doesn't feel like he's in the movie enough. But I do like how they've tied up a lot of the storylines in Lethal Weapon 4. It explores themes of getting older and unable to do your job as well. Makes it really hard to fight Jet Li when you're turning 60. There's an action sequence in the middle of this movie that is my favorite action sequence of all 4 films. In summary, Lethal Weapon 4 sticks the landing in some places and breaks its legs in others. Like, who the fuck are these detectives standing around in Lethal Weapon 4? Did these guys just win some contest out of a cereal box? They don't even look like cops. I'm sick and tired of these Lethal Weapon movies just having these meaningless fucking side cop characters just standing around with their thumb in their ass. I think all things considered, Riggs and Murtaugh actually have good final scenes together. So everyone, that's my thoughts on these 4 Lethal Weapon films. I'd love to know what you think. I'd love to know your arrangement of these movies. And what you think about my arrangement here. I think these movies will hit you in a way that you weren't really expecting if you haven't seen them for a while. Anyway, folks, I appreciate you being here, and I hope you come back again. And wherever you are, whatever time it is, I hope you're having a wonderful day or night.